kicked out of my near every bar around. I've been locked up for driving 120 through town. I've been shot at and cut with a knife, messing around with another man's wife. But other than that, we ain't nothing, just good old boys. Threw my boss out the window and got fired from my last job. Hot-wired a city truck and turned it over in the mayor's yard. Paid my brother-in-law half to death. Lost $20 on his football bet. But other than that, we ain't nothing, just good old boys. Good old boys, we're all the same. Ain't no way we'll ever change. Ain't no harm by the things we do.
Wow. Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Wade and Carter Show. I'm Ash. He's Brent. Welcome. If you're joining us on Magic, you can't see us, so I don't know why I just told you who's who, but I guess you can recognize the voices.
I'd like to welcome back the listeners at Magic 95.9 FM. Great to have you back with us.
Those of you on Facebook and YouTube, like, subscribe, share.
Commander and I took a vote. We declared that it was Ash's fault that we haven't been on FM radio for the past week.
We were on, except for one day.
No, we weren't. Not on Magic.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, we were because Lilo is a radio god.
Wizard.
He knows how to.
That's true.
He's the MacGyver of radio.
That's true.
Stuff.
He used 2 popsicle sticks and some duct tape.
And a piece of bubble gum.
And we were live on Magic 95.9.
Rena Scherer, first one in this morning. Greg Garcia, Justin Glass on the podium. Good morning, everybody. Wade and Carter weather brought to you by the great folks at AT Deerland Hay Feed and Ranch Services. Thankfully, we did not get nothing of the sort that Kerrville and the Hill Country got last night.
No kidding.
Man.
63 degrees in Victoria under mostly clear skies. Heading to a high today of 85. Kind of partly cloudy.
Yeah.
I don't know the difference between partly cloudy and
That's just the Debbie Downer way of saying mostly sunny.
right. But partly cloudy, mostly clear. You may see some wisps
So cloudy.
of nimbostratus. Yes, the Eeyore weather
It
report.
is.
Oh,
Oh,
bother.
bother.
It's going to get
Oh, no.
dark later. Let's ruin this day. It's going to get dark again. It always does.
It's not going to be great.
Right?
Mark Kurt, Scott Tomko, Ricky King, good morning. Bobby Leister, there's Funky Trey Molina kicking in. Lisa Poole, Sherry Jacobs, Mark Cepeda, good morning. Junior Samples, Micah Patton, Paul Ebner, good morning, Paul. Judge Posey,
Hey,
Scott
Judge.
Snow, Heather Stewart, Stephanie Connie, Jordan Glass. Good morning, everybody. Where to start? Sad day for boxing fans.
Well, or fans of indoor grilling.
Yeah.
The late, great George Foreman. Yeah, he's chewing on that cap.
Okay, cool.
We're going to let that go. It's
Okay.
just kind of,
I couldn't see what he was at.
he's just
Smiled.
loving it. He smells you on it.
Tammy Keeling, Marvin Mickus, Jordan Glass.
Great group of folks in every day, and we are blessed. But yeah, George Foreman dies at 76, apparently of old age. I'm not sure.
High cholesterol, maybe?
I could be, because if he would grill it, people have surmised that your lifetime warranty on your George Foreman grill is now done.
Boy,
I don't know.
I think on his for sure. But
Man, can you imagine? I mean, who would have ever thunk? We just saw Beckham hawking a Ninja grill.
yeah,
Who would have ever thought, except that George Foreman loved to eat?
he was a savvy businessman.
Oh, he was a really smart guy, a minister by training. I mean, he actually wasn't just declaring himself a pastor.
No. I read an interview with him, an old interview that's about after he lost to Ali in the Rumble in the Jungle. We'll get to that stuff in a minute. But he basically said he walked away from boxing. It wasn't really planned. He just got so busy with everything else, he didn't have time for it anymore.
Yeah.
And then at 48 years old or whatever it was, decides to make a comeback and
He just
becomes the
had
oldest heavyweight champ ever.
his arm. He hits you with like a side of beef.
Yeah.
You know, at any point he could hit you and knock you out. That's crazy.
I mean, if you really think about it, he became a boxing legend to 2 generations of boxing fans. Who's ever done that?
And
Nobody,
people thought
right?
it was a joke. They thought it was a joke that
Yeah.
was coming back. And all of his kids were named George, Georgette. He gave them all his name so they could always make a living. You know, I'm George Foreman the fourth,
Well, he joked it's so he wouldn't forget their names.
right? Well, what did Ali whisper to George Foreman when they were fighting?
It's my turn, sucker.
He says, "That's all you got, George? I realize this ain't what I thought it was." Man.
That's funny stuff.
Yeah, Foreman really, really touted the greatness of Muhammad Ali. He did that forever. Of course, it made him look good,
Yeah.
but he did talk about how great a champion Ali was, and by all accounts, one of the nice guys in boxing.
Absolutely. Think of how far the African continent has fallen in a generation. The Rumble in the Jungle was in Zaire. There is nothing happening of that magnitude on the African continent anymore in our lifetimes, and probably for the next lifetime either. It has become such a criminally despot-laden, led piece of crap continent that nobody wants to take the
You were
chance
so
there.
close. I was just about to say despot-laden, criminally, and then piece of crap.
Because it
Piece
has
of crap.
become.
You were there. You were a wordsmith.
Nobody's going to take a chance and fly 2 huge celebrities into a country in Africa. Because there'll probably be a pirating attempt. It's just not happening. Hey, take that away from him.
He's just
It's driving me nuts.
Is it driving
I
you
can
nuts?
hear it, and it's just
Really?
like click, click, click. Yeah.
Folks, it's a Monday. Ash is a little cantankerous.
No, not at all. But nobody's going to do that. Boxing has such a way around the world of bringing people to the Thrilla in Manila, the Rumble in the Jungle. Now, if it's not in Vegas, it just doesn't happen. But it's not.
If
gonna
it's
happen.
not at the MGM,
Yeah.
it just doesn't
Yeah,
happen.
No, but it's not going
That's
to
it.
happen anywhere else.
Boxing, I can't even tell you who the heavyweight champion is
No,
right
me
now.
either anymore.
Anybody know?
George Klitschko.
Is it
I don't know.
the heavyweight champ? There's no personality left in boxing. They're all just
Well, that's all UFC now, right?
lay down, heel, sit, stay.
And to be honest, heavyweight boxing was boring compared to Sugar
Sugar Ray,
Rays and all and the
Marvin
light heavyweights
Hagler.
and the middleweights. Yeah.
Thomas
Herman
Hitman
Hearns.
Hearns. Now he's got a Wade Carter cap. He's got a Carter for mayor cap. At least he's chewing on a loser. He can do that. Don't let
Nobody
that bother
liked that guy anyway.
you. Right.
Alexander Usyk
Never heard of him.
I was looking him up.
and Daniel Dubois there's the other problem with boxing. You got the WBA, the WBC, the IBF, WBO.
But he's got 3 belts. He's got everything
Yeah.
but the IBF. Since 21, and he got the IBF and he got the WBC in 24. So
That tells me he hasn't fought for
He
the other
ain't
2
fighting much.
belts.
Yeah.
Since 21.
that's right. Interesting.
But
Good morning, Mom.
Jenny Alvarez, good morning. Bobby Sparkman checking in. So yeah, that was the so there's 2 others that are going to have to pass to complete the trifecta of sporting figures because these things always happen in 3.
They do. Could we get George in with Gene Hackman? You said that's 2 big.
It might
names.
be, it might be too far apart though. I don't know. Maybe things are slowing down because there's no COVID right now.
Should we predict who the other 2 to die are?
I don't want to get into the celebrity
No.
death
Okay.
pool
It's not
thing.
going to be long. It's not going to be long. We're going to lose people like Roger Staubach. It's not going to be long. It's a shame, but it's
Bob Lilly.
just it won't be long.
Buddy Stavanoa checking in. Terry Murray, good morning.
Staubach just trying to hang on until the Cowboys win another Super Bowl.
Hey, the new talent down there is eating the carpet. I don't know if we care.
Yeah, no,
Okay, cool.
The truth is, what he eats nothing happens to it. He doesn't like shred things. He
Greg
just-
Garcia says too many sanctioning bodies in boxing. It'll never be great unless they get a national commission. There's always been too many, but it was what, 3, right? The IBF, WBA, WBC.
Be
And it was
Small-
great when you brought them all.
I agree. B Small says, shame on you. To even mention the fact that Staubach could pass. Yeah, no, I agree.
Junior says it's going to be Jane Fonda.
That'll be a happy, happy day. A lot of folks would not be upset if
Well, Ricky
Hanoi
King says
Jane
we just
passed.
lost Pete Rose too.
Yeah,
It might be too much time lapse there too. I don't know.
I agree. Try to throw those 3 together.
Yeah. Could be.
Solid point. You want to take a quick break?
Let's take the quick
just kind
break.
of stay
Yeah.
on schedule.
Yeah.
Schedule a
For
little bit.
once.
Is that the current? Is
That's
that the
the
current
current one,
screen,
yes.
folks? Dollar Floor Store.
Get in there today. Tell them we sent you. You'll save
Junior, get rid of that shag carpet.
15% up to $500 off your project at the Dollar Floor Store right there in Navarro, just down the road from higher prices.
You've spilled the coffee on it. Get in there and get down some flooring. Palace Bingo. Get out to Palace this week and have a blast. It's fun. Good, clean family fun and a great meal. You want a great cheeseburger? Eat at the grill out there. You'll
Yeah.
be like, wow, he wasn't lying. I had fish and shrimp one day and they gave me like the size of that keyboard piece of fried catfish and then had like 4 big old shrimp with it.
It was
Great
good.
deal.
It really
Like
was good.
$8.50.
Yeah.
Like it's not like they're not beating you up. USA Concrete Coating. Sand it, seal it, stain it, paint it.
578 home.
Reach out to them for all your concrete needs. They can level it, seal the cracks. Call them. Veracruz Restaurant today. Get into Veracruz for the best Mexican food in town. Whether you want queso, guacamole, great hot sauce, homemade chips, homemade tortillas. It's just fantastic, authentic Tex-Mex. Good stuff. Here at the offices at 205, JP and Mr. Geets have made great space available for you. You're always welcome to come by between 7 and 8 and see us live. Snoop around. It's got air conditioning, climate controlled space. Very nice. You'll like it. And it's right above Greeks 205, which is awesome.
Yeah,
You're
we're
right
205 and a half.
there. That's where our 207 and a half. I don't know which one we are, but we're here.
I think we're 205.
And then the chopping block, I was in Saturday and they had what did I call it? Trace Majoris. It's like a little
Terrace Major.
Terrace Major. There you go. Thank you. Thank you.
You're always trying to be so fancy when fancy doesn't need to be.
Right. Didn't know the word. I didn't say they had some crap. They had some crap in there. But you put it on the grill and man, it cooks up.
Did you pick up their $5.49 a pound ground beef while you were there too?
Absolutely. And that's fresh ground
Yeah.
beef. They do it right there, literally right there in the shop. And then Allen's Wrecker Service, 578-6300. Let Allen be your go-to Toto. You need to get it somewhere. You need to get something delivered, whether you're in Goliad County, Refugio County, Victoria County, Jackson County. They're all around all the time. Reach out to Allen's Wrecker Service, 578-6300. What have you found for me?
Have you been seeing that all this stuff below the pyramids, the Great Pyramids in Egypt, what they've been finding?
Clearly done by aliens in another era. Is that what you're?
I don't know. Like they're finding like a huge room below them all, like 2,100 feet below Earth.
It's hard to do. in the
Huge
sand.
columns wrapped in a spiral staircase so people can go up and down. Crazy stuff.
Are they going to explore them? You're saying they're doing this with scans.
Yeah, they're
right?
doing some sort of scans from space. It's really, really cool technology.
The Italian team believes there's an entire hidden world of mini structures more than 2,000 feet below the water system.
They had found this. Some of this stuff was coming out a couple of years ago, and now for some reason it's starting to you know, reach popular discussion again. But some of this, I mean, it's crazy. We're talking like 250 feet by 250 feet square.
That's big.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at it like that. It's in the Daily Mail, the United Kingdom.
Like, how do they make those columns so big? And they support the basically the pyramid, the floor of the pyramid.
And it was all done by hand. It wasn't like
Yeah.
they, had all this
Or was it?
Or was
UFOs
it?
came flying down.
You know, you
Oh,
really
sorry.
can see the structure. That's interesting.
And these things are like 39 feet in diameter.
Located at a depth of at least 2,100 feet. Do you dare go down there? Because if you go down there, what if you disrupt it and the pyramid collapses?
I don't.
on you?
Well, I don't think they're going to dig anything because that would destroy the structure of the pyramids.
But you would think you could drill and run a camera down there and see what's up.
But the other thing they're saying that these may not have been the burial. Their main purpose may not have been the burial tombs, like we've been led to believe. Some are saying that these might have been like some sort of underground power generating stations, which I don't quite get. But I guess if there's water down there, maybe, who knows? Crazy stuff, but it's really, really starting to get people to question everything that we believed. I don't know, Greg. I really don't know what it could be, but it's kind of fascinating, and I got down a little bit of a rabbit hole.
I'm going to try to
towards the end
read
of
some of
last
that as well.
week.
Good morning, Crystal Map.
Speaking of rabbit holes, man, you can get down one on the JFK stuff with more stuff coming out, and
Still nothing definitive. Though,
wow,
right?
but it certainly seems the CIA was involved now.
Involved is a really strong term. I can go right along with complicit. Alan Dulles, former CIA director, Kennedy had said, I'm going to scatter the CIA from shore to shore or whatever, in the winds, whatever he said. It was like, I'm going to destroy the CIA. And he was threatening to cut their funding. I mean, they certainly had motivation. If you want, it's maybe absurd. Like there are Americans, older Americans for sure, who would say that's absurd. No, there's no way that we would have that happen in our country. Would you believe it now? Would you believe me if I told you that the CIA and the Secret Service were complicit when Trump was shot at in Butler, Pennsylvania? I would.
Well,
They sent
I mean,
a shoddy detail out there.
we're finding out through all this Doge and USA ID that it was really a front for laundering money for the CIA and the Obamas and the Bidens and basically the left.
Which, by the way, I'm not, except for the last part there, I'm not totally opposed to it. I don't have a problem with the covert nature of the CIA. I don't have a problem. It got a little out of control when H.W. Bush was, selling cocaine to buy guns to help the Contras. That kind of stuff gets a little out of control. I'm not saying that it's always a good thing, but the idea that the CIA does resourceful things to have out of Congress, off the books money, I think that's almost necessary. I don't think you go to Congress and say, we need $5 million because we're going to sprinkle leaflets, and undermine Russia's influence in Western Europe.
Yeah.
What's up, dude?
Dog's out of control.
And it's not like other countries aren't doing the exact same thing.
Absolutely.
They just don't have the governmental transparency that the United States
Absolutely.
typically has.
But there are now, and I sent you an article that was like very noted. I mean, everything was, here's where I got this. Here's where I got this source. That Barack Obama used USAID to literally launder money, and that the money wasn't going to protect your interest via the CIA. It was going to train professional rioting groups, to train. You ever wonder how you see these events and all of a sudden there's 200 people there who seemingly have no real interest in what's going on, and they're all chanting, hell no, we won't go. They've all got their chants down. They've all got signs. That takes money. And they're saying that USAID was channeling that money back to these groups during the Obama administration. That's treasonous to me.
Yeah, Mike Benz was on the Joe Rogan podcast. He's the founder of the Foundation for Freedom Online, and he was talking about how Barack Obama was basically using this to fund and train rent-a-mobs. And it's interesting because they've all along they've said, oh, it's been George Soros money. It's been George Soros money. Turns out it wasn't George Soros money. Turns out it was
your money.
Your money. Exactly. Be Small says we need better chance.
And you know what? And they had, that's exactly right, Be Small. And they had groups together to create these chants. Very interesting. And again, I am somewhat of a conspiracy guy, because you call it a conspiracy if it doesn't line up with what the mainstream media throws at you. But
what happens when it turns out to be true? Like
that's right.
COVID being out of China.
Yeah.
And not bat stew.
Right.
Well, the other one over the weekend that I got down a rabbit hole was just how involved Israel may have been in the killing of John F. Kennedy and apparently the prime minister of Israel and Kennedy were not on friendly terms.
Yeah. Then we talked about that late last week that Kennedy was trying to negotiate a large de-escalation of the Cold War. Both our countries, us and at the time the USSR, were greatly ramping up our nuclear arsenal. Kennedy thought he had an end with, at the time, Nikita Khrushchev to scale that back. But Israel, who had been gifted some and stole some of our nuclear technology,
stole a lot from,
was testing nuclear weapons in the desert out there. And Russia knew it, because you just can't detonate a nuke without sophisticated equipment picking it up.
Activity.
And Kennedy was like mad at Ben Gurion saying, hey, bro, I'm trying to, stave off World War III, and you're our most important ally in the Middle East. And here you are, you're creating problems for me. And the prime minister said, I got them right next door to me. Don't tell me how to act in my country. And they're saying that the Mossad may have actually been involved in the killing of Kennedy.
Well, and JFK, even though things were a little bit tenuous in the Middle East, Kennedy's position was that if Israel got a nuclear bomb, Egypt would get a nuclear bomb.
That's right.
The nuclear arms race,
when George Bush was a baby,
was gonna explode, pardon the pun, in the Middle East and cause even more instability, which doesn't make a lot of sense, because if the USSR and the USA could arm themselves to the teeth with nuclear bombs in the name of stability,
right? Why couldn't they?
Yeah.
I think it's because you don't know which crazy Arab is going to run in there and decide to nuke their neighbor.
And they knew at that time that things weren't as stable in places like Iran.
Right.
There were already rumblings of dissent with the Shah. So they knew. But yeah, that played a huge role in it, which is interesting. I mean, but these papers aren't going to. Here's the one thing these papers, the 80,000 pages, won't do. They're not going to clear this thing up at all. All they're doing is really muddying it even more. Absolutely.
So, you look back. What was the guy's name? Was it Chavez that was in Venezuela?
Hugo, yeah.
And then you had Fidel Castro, and then you had the Shah of Iran. These guys, none of them were good guys. You had the the not the
And certainly one of
Ayatollah,
them
but,
wasn't a very good pitcher either.
Osama bin Laden was originally. All these guys were on the U.S. payroll. All of them.
Osama
and-
bin Laden was basically a CIA operative in the Middle East.
Absolutely. I think more than basically. I mean, he was a CIA paid guy.
Yeah.
And
Asset,
he
as they
knew
refer to
our strengths and weaknesses in the region, and he turned against us over religion and money and women. But
I'm going to rephrase that. He turned against us over a bastardized version of religion
right,
that
hates the West.
that they can use to keep the uneducated and ill-informed, unemployed masses in line over there and lead them in a common path. It's what happens in most of these situations. You look at what happens, most revolutions, and it's happening here with a lot of these protests. They take the unemployed, the uneducated, those that lack any sort of direction in life, and they whip them up into a frenzy to get behind a cause that sounds really good to them.
right.
Well, we'll ease your bread lines. We'll bring prosperity to you. Oh, the man is sticking it to you. We'll go fight the man. And what do
Give
they
them
do?
a cause and a purpose. But if you look back, a lot of those guys, the Shaw was a bad guy, right? But he was our bad guy.
Yeah.
And there is a lot to be said for, and that's exactly why. That's exactly why Joe Biden removed the global terrorism moniker from the Houthis. Is even though they were smaller than many of their counterparts and even less organized than many of their counterparts were decidedly more aggressive to the U.S.
And the Houthis controlled key areas of Yemen that they thought, well, if we just give them money, they'll be our friends and they won't be mean to us.
Yeah, Biden was an idiot, uninformed per usual, and he gave them money that they used against us.
This is the difference between the Democrats and the Republicans with this. We give money to buy allegiance, and we typically have it until politically things go south in those countries.
Right.
The Democrats believe if they give money to all these factions, they'll be our friends and won't work against us. They refuse to realize that there's enough people in these countries that absolutely hate us and hate the Western civilization way of life.
And there are generations of people who have been taught now, multiple generations, who have been taught that the U.S. is bad, the U.S. is capitalist, the U.S., everybody's a racist, everybody's rich, everybody's out to get them, everybody wants to exploit them.
And the one thing everybody forgets too is the people that lead these groups, they're not in it for anything but their own enrichment and the enrichment of their family and close friends and the power that comes with controlling these S-hole countries, as Trump referred to them last time around.
Absolutely.
That's what it's really about. Power, control, money, and enriching our friends. And then on the back end, somehow getting some sort of deal where they can go live in exile and not be prosecuted and punished for the crimes that they've committed. That's really what it's about.
I have never seen a time when either party has been more of a rudderless ship than the Dems are right now. If you tell me that Chuck Schumer, Adam Schiff, AOC, Ilhan Omar, and Jasmine Crockett, that's your starting five,
Yeah.
I'll play you with a junior high debate team, because name one policy that the Dems have offered you, one thing the Dems have offered you other than we will resist, we're going to fight, we're going to take it to the right. I don't get it. They're not giving you any alternative. Anybody with any intellect can't vote for them. Now, I get it if you want to vote against Trump, if you want to vote against the right, if you want to vote against J.D. Vance because you don't like him. That's fine. It's dumb, because you should be able to demand that your party give you somebody to vote for. See, all the Dems gave
Now
you
they're saying their dream ticket in 2028 is AOC and Bernie Sanders.
I mean, come on, Bunny.
Bernie won't be around, but AOC, she's the one they're pushing right now.
They're just trying to get her to be a little less bug-eyed, and free drinks for everybody. if AOC gets
Dems are
elected.
like, Greg Garcia says Dems are like that one kid in school who thinks they can buy off a bully with a cupcake. Here's the problem.
True
Though.
story.
As soon as you give them one cupcake, they want 1.5 the next day. Then they want 2. Then they want 3, and so on and so forth. And then you've got to keep giving them money, and it doesn't really change the fact that they still want to kick your ass,
True story.
right?
I did hear over the weekend, I was talking to several educators, and one did opine and basically admitted if the state, over 50%, think about this, folks, over 50% of the state's budget goes to public education already. If you next week made that 90%, in 2 years, they would come back for 5% more.
Yeah.
That's where the question is.
Yeah.
When is enough? When do you say, this is the only bat we've got, Billy? Get a hit.
Well, I just wish our state government would figure out what they really need to be involved in funding. And that's it. At least we haven't, at least so far, we haven't found that, we've been funding transgenic mice studies and such. But Bill Maher over the weekend, I think it was over the weekend anyway, I saw a clip fairly recently talking about Elon Musk. And he says, I can't believe the left is going crazy over what Elon's doing simply because it's Elon, right? That's my view.
That's
on it.
right.
But he goes, California needs the exact same thing. Who could be against that? Trying to find waste. Oh, you know who? The left, because they're the ones that waste it. They are the swamp.
Absolutely. There's the Honorable State Rep, House District 30, AJ Louderback checking in. Good morning, sir. Go get them. You're in Austin. Go get them today.
Take our next break.
Yep, we can. Look, just like that.
Today's the day to get into Veracruz Restaurant.
I told them that.
Oh, you did already?
Yeah. White Trash Services, White Trash Site Services.
Reminding them.
White Trash Site Services involved for you, to give you a word picture in the demolition of some space at Citizens Hospital, hauling off some old stuff so they can expand their emergency room. That's the kind of stuff they do. Give them a call. If it's good enough for Citizens, it's good enough.
Should
for
be good
you.
enough for you.
Brand us. If it's good enough for Wade and Carter, you should give him a call. Updating your website, helping you with your Facebook presence, studying analytics for you that you just simply can't understand. We certainly don't.
No.
Reach out to Cody. That's Commander Cody. Super nice guy.
Won't listen to me, though. I've told him to go like and subscribe to the YouTube page, and I haven't seen it happen.
He simply won't. He refuses to do so because
he doesn't like being told what to do.
Absolutely. Nobody puts baby in a corner.
Except us.
Atzenhofer and Atzenhofer.com, your source for your next brand new or gently pre-owned vehicle. Tell you what they do. They keep the best and they auction off the rest.
I don't know if it's a
true
new
statement.
Z71 or the same one, but there's another one. I don't think it's the same one. It's similar. Still got the 2.9% financing on the windshield. But this one looked more gray than black.
Mark Kurtz sending in an inappropriate meme, but it's funny. It's funny.
There's Jeff Finley checking in.
Christy Thurman asks, Carter, does your business offer car insurance? Thank goodness, yes. GSM Insurers, call me anytime. I have a GSM Insurers
Did you
page.
tell her to say that at
That's
7:30
my
in the
cousin,
morning?
Christy Thurman. No, I do not know. There's Jeff Finley. Good morning. Yeah, GSM.
Yeah.
You're home. If we don't handle your insurance, I tell people all the time, anybody can say an insurance policy. Don't you kind of want me fighting for you when it comes time for a claim?
Sure.
I would. Guy that's been doing it for 30 years and tells an insurance company, no, that's not really what you need to do for this guy. Let's work at it together. Parvita Wellness, don't you need Erica Briggs to tell you,
Absolutely.
no, that's not what you need to eat. Let me help you with your low cholesterol offering.
Texas leads the country in type 2 diabetes. If you really want to keep your glycemic index steady and level,
medical terms,
go talk to Erica. She can plan a menu for you and meals that will not spike your glucose, and you'll live healthier and better as a result. You might even see your A1C drop.
There you go.
Cheswick Furniture Company?
You don't have to do that dance.
No, you don't have, you can do it without Ozempic.
Right?
Or whichever one they're now deciding is
Whatever
better,
it is.
is
One of
good
the
for weight
icks.
loss.
It's always
Yeah,
one of the icks.
absolutely.
Chestic and Love make your house a home. Get in and
105
see.
years, folks. They've been there for 100. They've been in business for 105. They've been at their current location for 80. Yeah.
You just always do better at Chestic. Chestic and Love do make your house a home. Get in and see why. You just always do better at Chestic. Went Services, went for your next and future and only electrical generator. Generac, American-made product,
Yeah.
turnkey.
Call them now
Generator
before
service.
hurricane season begins. Like I told you, I talked to somebody about 3 weeks ago. I ran into them and they had just gotten their generator installed. They bought it themselves and then had to go through all the subbing of it. And they started this process last June.
And then when it doesn't work, do you call the plumber? Do you call the electrician that made the connection? Do you call the guy that you rented the Vermeer trencher from? Why not just pick up the phone and call
Yeah.
Went Services? By the way, if you buy it right, you can probably negotiate an extended warranty on that thing.
First
will
State
take care
Bank
of 'em.
Astros update, couple of moves over the weekend. Ben Gamel, the right fielder, released, which I a little bit of a surprise because I kind of liked him.
But I think that opens the door, for better or worse, for Mr. Cam Smith to be
Yeah.
a starter in the big leagues. The kid hit 470 something in the preseason,
Yeah, they optioned Shea Whitcomb down to Sugarland late last week as well.
but they kept Forrest Whitley, which is his first debut on an opening day roster for sure. He's been in the bigs before, brought up late season. Really, it's a toss-up to me who's a bigger disappointment for different reasons, either Forrest Whitley or McCullers. McCullers drives me nuts. He's always hurt, and we've paid him a ton of money. Guaranteed contract. Forrest Whitley signed huge out of high school. He's like 6'5", pick a number. He is the prototypical power pitcher. He's had injuries. He's had control issues. He seems now to have it all together and should be a really important middle reliever. I like that. Spencer Arrighetti I think he had a good spring. Arrighetti picked up where he left off last year. Midway through the season last year, Arrighetti became basically untouchable and has pitched well. Framber Valdez, Hunter Brown, secure as a number 2 starter.
Yeah,
Luis Garcia
out right now.
out. Ronel Blanco, actually. Great one. They're going to be good. They're going to do fine.
I think the Astros will be better than people think this year.
Yeah.
And
I think that lack of expectation may help them be really good.
yeah.
Speaking of that, and I don't take any pleasure in this.
Yeah.
There's no humor. in
Luis
this to me.
Garcia shut down late last week. That's why he's out. Elbow soreness. That bothers me when you're coming off Tommy John. That tells me there's probably some problems with the ligaments that they pulled
Yep.
from some dead guy.
And he's
And
28.
stuck him to your elbow.
He's 28 years old. So hopefully
And I like Luis.
he'll be fine.
Yeah.
I
But
may
right
be-
now, yeah, Cam Smith, the right fielder, penciled in as the starting right fielder.
I have no
on
problem with
opening
that.
day.
I'd rather have him out there than Chas McCormick. I would. I'd rather have him out there. McCormick hustles. He doesn't hit. I will. Thursday is the day, right, Brian Smalley? Yes, that's opening day.
I
Should be a
agree. There's
national
nothing.
holiday.
There's nothing more American than baseball.
Apple pie,
Yep. Ice cream.
Bluebell homemade ice cream. Amen. 100% agree. I don't.
Tillamook.
So oh, is that better? I tell you what, I get that Tillamook cheddar cheese at Sam's.
Yeah, it melts so much better than any other
it's
cheese.
a big
around.
old block, like
Yeah.
2.5 pounds for like $9, and I take it home and I cut it into my own. I dice
Cubes,
it up.
yep.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Yeah, and if you shred it, put it on eggs and stuff,
Oh.
it melts so much
Cut
better.
one,
than,
eat one. Cut
Yeah.
one, eat one.
and you'll be cutting one all
I've been-
later on.
I've been
too.
locked up since February.
But I
But you-
agree with B Small. Opening day should be a national holiday.
You look at it, and I was like, what's the Jaguar record right now?
25 and we're 14-4 in baseball, and I think 12-2 in softball in the conference, and overall, I think 25-7 and a few games above 500 in softball. I think.
There
I don't
you
know-
go.
I don't know the
So when
records
you
for
look
sure.
at it like that, and I'm telling you, I've got 3 adult children who all went to Texas A&M. I follow Texas A&M in a love-hate deal. A lot of that is for radio. When I watch the Aggies play,
Mostly.
I root for the Aggies. I do. I don't have any hate for the Aggies. It is unfathomable to me that they have not only lost 2 series in the SEC with that baseball team, they have been swept. They are 0-6 in SEC play. And you would think, and there is a little humor here, you would think that just rolling that roster out there, we've all seen it. We saw UTSA beat Texas. Texas takes 2 out of 3 from the number 2 team in the country this weekend. Texas beats LSU at home 2 out of 3. And even LSU fans are saying, well, you should. You know, you're a top 10 team. You're playing at home, yada, yada, yada. The fact is, LSU is a great Omaha-bound ball club. I'm not sure Texas is. But the baseball gods are funny. And it is odd to me that just rolling that roster that the Aggies have out there, that they don't win. It's hard to imagine getting swept in 2 SEC series, one by Mississippi State. I mean, you look at their basketball team, was a 4 seed and won a game in the NCAA tournament, and they don't have a coach. Buzz Williams is not really doing much but rolling out a ball and saying, go get them, fellas. He ain't a coach, and they found a way to win a lot of games. Mike Early's going to get fired after this season, and I feel bad for the guy. I feel bad for the guy. By the way, don't be surprised if next year he's back where he belongs, hitting coach.
Although weren't you the one that said a lot of times when you promote your hitting coach, it doesn't go well?
No, and I knew it wouldn't go well. You can't. The SEC is the most competitive baseball league in the country by far. And you can't just say, you there on the bucket, what do you do? You know what that's exactly like? I'll give you the great analogy. You're a brake guy. You do brakes. That's what you do. And you do brakes better than anybody. Guess what? We need you. Come champion. Come be the crew chief of my NASCAR team. We're at Daytona next week. Going to need you. Got a great driver. Got a great car. We just need you. You're our crew chief. Wait, whoa. I do brakes, man. Yeah. It's missing in one cylinder. What do I do? It's pushing a little bit in the turn. What do I do?
Loosen up the brakes on that side.
The idea that you think you can just take talent and go win baseball games at the highest level is sheer ignorance. Sheer ignorance.
Hasn't worked out well for the Yankees.
No. They got all the talent in the world. They can't win.
Look at the Braves in the 90s. What? No World Series in the 90s, right?
Right. Craziness.
Anybody will switch gears here real
How's
quick.
your bracket?
Busted right off the
Arkansas
bat,
busted up part of my bracket.
Anybody watch? Yeah. Florida got past UConn, but did anybody watch Maryland last night? And their win over Colorado State?
Was it close?
72-71. They scored the winning bucket as time expired, and nothing against the kid that made the shot, but last time I checked, 3 distinct steps.
Oh, did he walk?
Oh, and nobody called it. They went to the panelists after. Barkley's not going to call it because he loved to travel.
Sure. He was only 6'4". I mean, he had to travel.
But
B. Small says great game. That means B. Small had a lot of action on Colorado State.
It was a good game. And Colorado State,
Plus the points.
Probably, maybe you foul them and send them to the line. I don't know, but you don't. But the fact to me is that was a travel. And this is why I can't watch the NBA anymore. And now college hoops is getting this way as well. They used to be pretty good sticklers for these things, but the fact that you can take 8 million steps
in that bracket, I had Tech making it to this level and St. John's, and I had St. John's beating Tech.
St. John's.
So I lose that game with St. John's and with Arkansas. And now the winner of that won't go on in my bracket. Now, I did have St. John's losing to whoever the number 1 seed is in that bracket. Good morning, Jamie Anderley. How are you? Good. Trey Molina says he needed luggage. He went so far. Tammy Keeling even called it a travel.
She knows basketball.
There's no doubt.
So here's the Sweet 16. Florida and Maryland. Florida's the 1. They barely got past UConn.
Florida wins that.
Tech and Arkansas. I'm not so
I
sure on
can't
that
bet
one.
against Arkansas.
Arkansas is just rolling through
No,
everybody.
They are. I can't root against them.
Houston and Purdue. I think
Who's
Houston
their
wins
coach?
that one.
Calipari?
Who at Arkansas?
Arkansas, is that
Ah.
Calipari now? I think it is.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, he beat Patino. That's who it is. Boy, he beat him by 9.
Yeah.
St.
And
John's was good.
Kentucky and Tennessee. I think Tennessee.
Texas got beat by Xavier in the play-in game. To me, not an NCAA tournament. I hope Texas doesn't call themselves an NCAA contestant this year. So they just hired Xavier's coach. Sean Miller, going to be the new head coach at Texas. He's 56 years old. He's been around. I don't know. I don't know if that's a splashy enough hire. I do know that he found a way to beat Texas with a group from Xavier. I'll take him.
A&M loses. I didn't have A&M losing that game.
I had them losing to Michigan. Yeah. But they shouldn't have lost. When I turned it on, it was 70-66 A&M. And in no time, it was like 80-72 Michigan.
But then again, I had UC San Diego upsetting Michigan, which they almost did, but it didn't quite work. Auburn and Michigan, I think Auburn rolls.
Auburn is really a good program.
Yeah. And then on the other three games in left in the Sweet
I got
16.
Alabama's going to beat BYU.
Yeah, I think so. Although BYU is just playing, they're playing above their heads. Whether they can keep it going now that there's a week off, I don't know. Michigan State and Ole Miss. I think Michigan State, if they start the way they did against New Mexico yesterday, they don't win that game. Tom Izzo's got to have them playing a complete game of basketball. They did a nice job to come back and make it close, but you can't get off to that slow a start against Ole Miss and expect to win it. And then Duke and Arizona, the Dukies are just rolling.
Yeah, they are good. And that side of my bracket's still intact. There was a time that I coveted Tom Izzo. I would have given up a lot to have Tom Izzo be the coach at Texas. Coach Izzo is now 97 years old, and I don't have any desire for this to be his final resting place.
I don't know. He's the number 2 seed in the tournament.
Let me tell you what he does better than almost anybody, and it's just hard to not respect.
Coach.
He goes around the campus into college classrooms and invites kids to come to the game.
Yeah.
And I think it's such a romantic. Michigan State's not a little bitty school, and Coach Izzo
but they suck in about every sport but basketball.
True. It's the home of Magic Johnson, you know. But think about that. Our basketball coach at Texas, where the Moody Center is and where their offices are, there's no reason for them to ever be anywhere near a classroom. Tom Izzo takes time still today to go around and go, hey, we've got a really big game tonight with Michigan. Hope you kids will come out. You know, it's been sold out for weeks, but he's just very pro students. I like that a lot.
What do you make of Columbia University kowtowing
They
to the
caved
Trump
in.
administration?
They caved in because they want that $400 million. Listen to this. They conceded. Their policy changes include banning identity concealing masks during protest. If you're going to protest, that's fine. Own it. You don't get to cover your face and walk around our campus shouting death to the Jews in the name of free speech. Can't do it. They've got to hire 36 campus security officers who can arrest or remove people. They've got to appoint a new senior vice provost to oversee the Middle East, South Asian, and African Studies Department. And they have to implement a formal definition of anti-Semitism, which is going back to the free speech deal. You shouldn't be a Jewish student at Columbia walking across campus and have another Arab student yell at you, death to the Jews. All Jews ought to die.
You shouldn't
have
have
that.
You shouldn't
Shouldn't
have
be there.
a student, grad student, commandeer a building. And this is where he ran afoul. The left is trying to tell you, oh, it's free speech, free speech. No. He organized the takeover of a building.
It's an insurrection by their definition.
He created a hostile environment for Jewish students, threatened them. That's the difference. There's the difference. It's not a free speech issue. Protest all you want on the grounds of Columbia. I don't care. That's your First Amendment right.
And Texas went a step further and basically said, you can say whatever you want, but we don't have to allow you to, if you're not a student here, we don't have to allow you to trespass on our property to do it. There's the key thing.
Yeah, that's where the courts and states and governments have, well, it's taxpayer money. Well, you know what?
It's also my kid going there has a right to have an uninterrupted, unimpinged ability to move from building to building. Shouldn't have a bunch of professional 35-year-old protesters
show up on a bus.
I don't care what their cause is. I don't need a team of evangelists keeping my kid from getting to class.
No.
So that's part of the deal. You want, not to mention, like in Austin, this is what President Jay Hartzell said at the time. The state capitol is right over there. Go over there and protest. You don't need to do it on our campus. And then Texas got labeled the liberal school when it was actually Columbia. Did you see where the president just put a little pause on a $175,000 grant to the University of Pennsylvania, which, by the way, he went to the Wharton School. It's not like he's not being unbiased here.
175 million.
Or by 175 million, what did I say, 1,000?
Yeah.
Sorry. 175 million. Because the University of Pennsylvania is where that dude swam. Penn is where that guy put on the girls' one piece and swam, and Trump said, this is ridiculous.
Mr. Thomas.
If you're going to allow that, we're not going to give you 175 million. And you know what the left cries? They do important research. People are going to die if you don't give them that money. You got to give them that money. We appropriated that money. That's why we got their votes.
Well, that's what they're going after Elon Musk for now, too,
That's
right? That Elon's taking money from the mouths of poor people, taking food from the mouths of poor people by doing what he's doing with Doge. I didn't know it was the government's responsibility to feed anybody, for one.
No. Kathleen Leininger opines, or I think shares, I read that Columbia has a significantly larger foreign student population than U.S. student population, and yet we're giving them millions of taxpayer dollars to educate predominantly foreigners.
Yeah, I don't know if that's true. I'd have
I don't
to
know.
look. But one thing that this country refuses to acknowledge from the federal government, state governments, a lot of this research funding, what we're finding out is going to the countries of where all these researchers are from. They're coming here using our money to do their research, some of it classified type research, things that would aid our military, and they're taking it back to Russia. They're taking it back to China. They're taking it back to Israel. They're taking it back to their countries, and we know for a fact, because they've been caught red-handed, Chinese students are taking classified information out of this country.
Right.
We're funding this. We bring these researchers over knowing this.
But that's consistent, Ash, because universities in stereotype are leftists. Higher academia is leftist, and they're after one world government. Everybody's got the bomb. Everybody makes a living wage. Everybody has everything that everybody else has. So we're going to give away all our technology. We're going to let people steal it because it helps them even the playing field. We have American military people and CIA people. One of them got busted a couple of years ago giving, like, why would you give this information to China? Just because I think that we should all have the same data.
Yeah.
There are no secrets anymore. Let's do a look quick.
What's-
Look, Cody Kim.
Yeah.
Going in. Boom. There he is. He waves. There you go, Cody Kim.
What's the latest talking point that I heard over the weekend with the leftists and Doge? Oh, that this money that they're finding is going to go to pay for the tax cuts for Trump's rich billionaire friends.
That is the dumbest thing ever. As we've already pointed out on numerous occasions, the top 1% of wage earners pay 48% of this country's taxes.
federal
I mean,
taxes.
would you rather have 10% of Elon Musk or 100% of me and Ash? I mean, quit taxing us altogether. 48% of the taxes collected come from the top 1%. And we've already also established that half of the country, a full 50% of this country, pay no taxes.
Nope.
So the 49% under the 1%, they pay the other 51%. Think about that. Or the other, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I had an Ash math moment. Yeah. 1% pay 48, so they pay the other 52%. We do. People like us,
Yeah.
me and you, pay all of us together, the hundreds of millions of us combined to pay 52% of the taxes. The top 1% pay 48. Get off Elon Musk. You can't tax that guy enough to solve our problems.
No, and that's where the Bernie Sanders and the AOCs think that's where they're wrong. They think that these people, they're not paying their fair share. What's their fair share? They've never defined that.
Yeah.
I'm to the point where, you know what? Unless you're paying in, you don't get anything back.
I have no problem.
You
with
might
that.
get all these tax credits, but if you're not actually paying anything into taxes, you're not getting a refund check at the end of the year. But you know what? The lobbyists for the mattress stores and the check cashing places, they will be up in arms if that ever came to fruition, because they pride themselves on preying on those who are living paycheck to paycheck.
Amen.
And the 40% interest they can charge for a payday loan every week.
Absolutely. Have you seen that deal, Chime? Now I can get paid whenever I want to, up to $500.
Yeah.
I can get paid. That's, you know, by the way, so you probably get billed $550 to get $500, and then they get it
Absolutely.
right out of your next check.
Yeah. And then you're back at them the next week to make ends meet because you had to give them $50 and you don't have gas money.
It's like me on my allowance when I was a child. Like, Dad, can I have my allowance early? Sure, son. For the next 4 years, I want to buy a new shotgun. Can I have it early for the next till I'm 17? Thanks, Dad.
You were getting
What
an
a
allowance at
deal.
17?
Yeah,
Must be nice.
I'm an
to
only
be
child.
I was
I
gonna say.
still get an allowance. Who do you think pays for this show? Thanks, Mom.
Mark Carney calling for an election in Canada. This means that the Parliament will not sit and do any work of the people in Canada till April 28th, I think is election day.
Is there
Commander,
a bigger
when's
play
election
going
day
on
in
up there?
Canada?
Is there a bigger play going on up there that we don't know? Is Carney just a placeholder? I mean, what do you
Well,
think?
I mean, everybody for whatever reason, they seem to think he's the one that can stand up to Donald Trump. He's never been elected for anything.
Look, you've got 30 million people. We've got 350 million people. You can't stand up to Donald Trump.
He's been
Spoiler alert.
He's been a professional banker his whole life. His monetary policies, at least in my opinion, have led Canada into the abyss they're in financially, and the dollar that is languishing at about 32 cents behind the American dollar.
But he's also been
The last time the dollar was on par, they had a conservative president as Stephen Harper. In fact, the Canadian dollar at one point was worth $1.02
wow,
US. It was, yeah. I should have bought so much more money back then.
right? But you got to have money to buy money. That's the problem.
Yeah, and I
That is the
and I
problem.
don't have it.
No, and we're just getting by. $1.43 Canadian to the dollar. So gallon of milk over here, say it costs $3. Over there, it costs $4.29.
Well, and there's the other problem, right? They don't want this mouse is not working very well today. Yeah, it's worth about 70 cents.
Wow.
Now's the time to go to Canada, folks. If you want a vacation in Banff or some of the nice places up there, go now because you're going to get 30 cents on the dollar on your exchange rate easily.
But now, do they not take a $200 a night hotel and just make it $250 so they can still net the same?
Some probably will.
And you say, well,
They want you to pay in
It's
US
only
dollars. They
200.
want you to pay US dollars.
Peter McNally says, incorrect us. I have no idea
I have no idea what we were incorrect.
We haven't
about.
said anything
No.
wrong today. Everything we've said has been spot on.
No.
I've been fact checking us.
When's the Canadian election there, Commander? Did you fact check that for us?
He heard you, but he did not.
He
Do it.
figured if I just wait long enough, we'll be at the top of the hour and I won't have to say anything.
That's exactly what I was hoping for.
Jared McCrugan says there's a conspiracy theory that the new polls are BS, but the WEF
World Economic Forum.
will rig the election and Canada is toast.
April 28th.
I was right, surprisingly.
Peter McNally gave no details, Junior.
No,
I don't know. I
Yeah.
think he just comes in late and says, you're wrong. Whatever you said was wrong.
Maybe it was just the use of a big word.
Incorrectus.
Yeah.
There
It
is a
sounds
chance.
prestigious.
He is prestigious, a very smart gentleman and a fine, fine friend and a good man, Peter McNally. Please don't ever take any of our disagreements with Pete on the air as anything other
No.
than disrespect, because
Pete,
he's a great guy.
if you're suffering this morning from incorrectus, keep listening to this station. We are the
Right.
cure.
Yes. Instead of ED, it's IC. Incorrectus. I have incorrectus. There you go. Folks, it's the top of the hour.
It is.
We love you guys. Welcome back, Magic 95.9.
And we didn't even get to the fact that the Ukraine and the U.S. and the U.S. and Russia sitting down with
We
some
also
peace talks.
didn't get to the fact that Donald Trump, apparently legally this time, deported another 200 Venezuelans back to Venezuela. Bye. Have a great day, folks.
Bye, folks.
Cut with a knife, messing around with another man's wife. But other than that,